Hello, friends, bienvenidos. My name is Jen, aka Jen Colo on social media, your local witchy friend and intuitive guide through the occult. As always, my lovely husband and co host is David, aka Premier Pulls on social media.
Hi everyone. On today's episode, Jen explains Pisces season.
Welcome to the show. Grab a chair, make yourself at home. Jen's got stories to share. You'll never feel alone.
We're back.
So excited, so happy to be back.
We are back. Yeah. I'm glad to come back to the horoscope, or I keep calling it horoscope, but I know it's not. Just excited to come back to these types of episodes, the signs.
Yeah.
Because they feel familiar. We kind of know the routine, and this was a good one to come back to.
Yeah, thank you everyone so much for being so patient while I went through it. So I was in and out of the hospital. Eventually, I had to get surgery to get my gallbladder removed, and then I had to recover. And thank you so much to David for taking care of me on the day to day. But thank you so much to all of you for giving me grace and being so patient with me. We are back. We are back to our normal schedule. Wednesdays, normal podcast episodes, and then Saturdays, unhinged episodes. And I'm also taking appointments again, so feel free to schedule if you would like.
Yeah, it's almost like nothing ever happened. We're just back to normal. But it's going to be interesting. We were kind of talking a little bit about how difficult sometimes it is to get back up. And we had really good momentum, and we were not missing episodes. I mean, we've been going for quite some time. But it was just kind of I think it was a good break, but also it's like when you go exercise and then you take a week or two off, getting back into it is a little difficult. So we're still getting our bearings. We're still kind of remembering the format. What's really nice is we're in our new studio, and we've been in here for a while, but because everything that's been going on, we haven't been able to enjoy it as much. So we're really excited to be recording in our new studio and being more consistent. So like Genesis said, barring something crazy happening, which maybe, I don't know, we'll talk about during Pisces season, we should be more consistent. So again, thank you everyone for rejoining us.
Yes, Mars is stationing direct, so I feel like the worst is over. Speaking of, so we are hosting a workshop, Mirror Mirror, a self-love workshop. It's going to be super cute. We're going to make our own portals so that we can remind ourselves of our beauty, worth, and magic within us. So it'll be this Friday, February 28th at 6 p.m. Pacific time online for Kythera Club Patreon members only. So if you haven't joined yet and you would like to, you can subscribe to the cafe or the tequila level. Cafe is only $7 a month, and it gets you access to the workshop. So feel free to check it out.
Yeah, we'll be promoting it heavily on socials. It's cool because you go out and buy your own stuff, so it's very personal. So whatever you want or whatever you need, you can tailor it to you. And it's still pretty early in the year, so I think it'll be a good, no pun intended, reflection for the rest of the year.
And if you have stuff that you want to use, you don't have to buy anything. You could upcycle stuff that you already have. So yeah, very much whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get into it. Pisces season. How many do we have left? What did we end on? No, we did Aquarius, right?
We did Aquarius last time. Yeah, that was before I had surgery.
What did we end on?
I think we started with Gemini, right?
Yeah.
So after this, we have Aries.
Ooh, okay.
And then we have Taurus.
Your favorite?
And then we have Gemini, so just three more.
Three more. That's it. Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. All right, Pisces season. Tell me about it. Tell me what we should know, and see if it's gonna beat out Virgo as my favorite sign. Well, the one before this I really liked too. Aquarius. I really liked Aquarius. So,
nice.
All right, Pisces, the fishes, right?
Yeah, the two fish.
They look like yin yangs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're a mutable water sign. So again, we talked about mutable being at the end of the season. Pisces is the last sign of winter, even though because of global warming it feels like spring, but it's still winter. So yeah, it means that they're flexible and it's transitioning from one season to another.
So this is like a transitional sign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, mutable, transitional. Yep. Ruled by Jupiter in traditional astrology and Neptune in modern astrology. Yeah, it's the final sign before the new year during the spring equinox, which transitions to Aries season. So this is tying up loose ends, reflection, things like that. This year, Pisces season started February 18th, and then it'll end March 20th when the spring equinox is.
So as when this episode comes out, we will be in full Pisces season, right?
Yeah, we'll be like, yeah, maybe like a week or two into Pisces season. Other mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo. You also like Virgo, another mutable sign.
Well, I don't know if I like Pisces yet.
Sagittarius, which is your rising sign. So all of these are dreamers and philosophers. They're also very flexible, like I mentioned. Sorry.
I just want to interject a little bit. We probably should have touched on the beginning, but our latest Unhinged episode was Genesis all by herself. She went through each sign, the zodiac signs, and was it for like Mars or?
For Mars stationing direct, yeah, I did a horoscope for Mars stationing direct for each sign.
Yeah, so if you want to see that and you're a Pisces, if you're listening to this because you're a Pisces, that's also kind of a good thing to listen to, and you can get that one for as little as $4 a month too for like that extra content. But that was just a little plug.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, I did do that and I put a lot of effort into it. So hopefully y'all like it if you watch it. But yes, Pisces, they're less likely to get along with their fellow mutable signs because you just have a lot of flexibility, and also just like opposite signs, again, water and earth go well together, and then fire and air go well together. So they are less likely to get along with Sagittarius and Gemini.
When you say there's less flexibility, so would Sages and Geminis be also less flexible, and then
No, they're more flexible.
and Pisces are not?
No, all of these signs, all of the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius,
Are
and
really
Pisces,
flexible.
Are really flexible.
So is it like it's hard for them to get things done, you think, sometimes, like to
Yeah.
focus and somebody take leadership?
Of course, when you're in a relationship, whether it's platonic or romantic or business, you do need some common ground, right?
Yeah.
But if you are too similar, then it just doesn't work. It's almost like a feedback loop where you're talking to yourself. But then they're also slightly different because they're also air and fire signs. So it just they don't have like the right compatibility to go well together, because in the similarities they're too similar, and then in the differences they're like too different. There's no like middle ground.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
You want a little give and take, kind of like this podcast.
This is kind of an unhinged comment, but I'm just gonna say it anyway because it comes to mind. So back when I was single and I was using OkCupid, you do a quiz and you have to like answer all the questions. And I thought, well, the higher the compatibility, like the more compatible you would like somebody. And I would go on dates with people that were like 95% and above. And they were so annoying because it felt like I was talking to myself. And I was like, I mean, yes, we need to be kind of similar, but this is like too similar and I'm getting annoyed.
I think 75% and up is pretty good.
Yeah, I started aiming for like 75 to 90% similar.
We have a running joke between us, and we always ask ourselves, like, would you be friends with yourself? And every time I ask you, you're like, yeah, I don't know.
I actually, now at this point with like some shadow work, self-development, I would be friends with myself. But back then, I don't know. Anyway, but they are most likely to get along with other water signs, especially Cancer, Scorpio, and then the best of both worlds, like similar enough and different enough, is Virgo for Pisces.
For Pisces, okay. And Cancer is my moon sign, right?
Yeah. Oh my
I
God,
remember.
he's learning.
What about in a romantic relationship? Where would that fit? I always like asking that question. If you're a single Pisces, who should you be dating?
I just mentioned that Cancer, Scorpio.
Well, you said compatible, but like what about
Like the top.
like romantically, like
Top
specifically?
ranked?
Yeah.
I think it just depends what you're going for, but I would say Virgo. Virgo is probably good for
The best,
Pisces,
okay.
Like if you had to rank them. But you know, other Earth signs, Capricorn,
Tauruses.
Taurus, not bad either. If That's your vibe. So,
I cannot wait for the Taurus episode.
oh my God. I'm excited to clear the
Yes.
air. Anyway. So characteristics. At their best, they are dreamers, empathic, psychic. Pisces is known for being very intuitive and very psychic.
Having just like a better connection to the spiritual world. The veil is a little less thin.
Yeah, a little more thin.
Or a little
They're
more thin.
Very attuned. Like they're very aware of energy.
Do you think they're just more intuitive too, though? It's because of the flexibility. They don't get. Well, it sounds like maybe they don't get caught up in like rigid structure where they're like things need to be A and B, and they can operate really well in the gray, which can be good for intuition because intuition can sometimes be hard to follow because you don't think like it's fact and you're trying to kind of wade the waters.
Yeah.
Could that be part of it? Just their intuition is a little more sensitive?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, they're flexible and they're also very creative. But at their worst, people would say that they're indecisive, careless, delusional, and anxious.
You know what archetype Pisces give me?
What?
It's pretty appropriate for, actually we're a little far away, but they give major stoner vibes.
Oh, interesting.
Do you see that?
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could. Actually, a lot of Pisces that I know are very big,
They're big stoners. They're like dreamers, head in the sky, very into the spiritual, but then like obviously the delusional and the anxious,
Yeah.
that can pop up sometimes, and indecisive,
Yeah.
I mean, there's that stoner archetype. I think there's been a lot more progression. There's a lot of people who dabble in the herbage and are very successful. That's part of their identity, but they're not slackers by any chance. But as you're describing it, it just gave me that archetype of like just the stoner, just chilling with the black light posters and the tie-dye.
One of my best friends is a Pisces, exactly like that.
You hadn't made that connection?
Not until you mentioned it. I'm like, oh, that does make sense. One of my previous HR ladies, she was a Pisces, and she's like, you're not allowed to smoke, but I smoke
Big
it.
parentheses.
Yeah, but I smoke all the time, so I'm not going to test you.
Okay.
And then one of my previous bosses was also like, yeah, I toke every night to sleep. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To each their own.
3 for 3.
Okay, so Pisces are stoners. Got it.
Yeah. Some famous, infamous, renowned, whatever you want to call them, Pisces. George Washington,
Okay.
Steve Jobs, Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the telephone, Rihanna, Einstein, Michelangelo, Kurt Cobain of Nirvana,
Interesting.
Steve Irwin, Olivia Rodrigo, Chris Martin of Coldplay, Levi Strauss,
Is that the jeans?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Shaq, and Steph Curry.
Interesting. I love how you throw like the big figures, then a little bit for you, and then a little bit for me.
I try.
Well, let's go through these. I mean, I always love discussing these. So, following the archetype, George Washington. I mean, I think at the end of the day, he was a disruptor. Mm-hmm. That one, I don't know. That one seems a little. I would have imagined more of a Leo, honestly.
No, because he was the reason why he wanted like an independent state was for a lot of freedoms, right? He's very flexible, like live and let live, and he dreamed of a better future.
Oh, okay.
Which
Yeah.
is why like he was the first president of the United States.
And more than that is like not having to follow the crown, essentially. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then we have Mr. Steve Jobs, which, yeah, I mean, every time you see posters of him, it's like dreamer, dream visionary. We watched Silicon Valley recently.
Love that show.
It's giving vibes.
Yeah.
He was very interesting, though. He was, I think, for sure, for the characteristics of at their best, is, dreamer, empathetic. Not empathetic. Steve Jobs was known to be extremely ruthless, and he would just kind of mow over everyone to get what he wanted. And not flexible either.
Again, this isn't like a stereotype.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of going through, but definitely
the visionary,
the visionary, creative, and then at their worst, I wouldn't say Steve Jobs was indecisive. If anything, I think he was like very decisive in exactly what he wanted. He was careless, though. I would say careless. I think really, is a good indicator of who he was. And then delusional. Unfortunately, he did pass away from, I believe it was pancreatic cancer, but some sort of cancer. and it's pretty common knowledge that he could have fought it well, but he decided to like go natural routes and not seek modern medicine. So very interesting with Steve Jobs. And then Alexander Graham Bell, talk about being a dreamer, right? I mean, we take it for granted now. I think he started with the telegram first, and then it went to the telephone. But I mean, that's the cradle of like information highway, which now we have the internet.
Without him, we wouldn't be here.
Basically. I mean, we would be here, but it would be a very dark age. Him and Edison. No, not Edison. Tesla. Rihanna. Okay, I'll let you take Rihanna. I know you like Rihanna.
Yeah, Rihanna, she's very creative, obviously, pop icon. She is very caring. Like, her brand was one of the first brands to really do like skincare inclusivity, but also like body positive inclusivity. Like, she was the first one to hire like plus size models that aren't just like put this sheet over you, but she was like, let's make you glamorous. Has an eye for style. I think she's also very spiritual, if I'm not mistaken, like with her Caribbean spirituality.
From Barbados.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Einstein, also like able to see past like what's in front of you and be very intuitive. Like, I think he even came up with some theories where he's like, I can't exactly like prove it, but I know it's there, and then people after him were able to prove it. So
we came up with the theory of relativity, which is a pretty big one. A lot of innovators here, huh? Michelangelo.
I mean, creative, like, one of the biggest art influences, like just super creative.
The Sistine Chapel.
Yep.
Kurt Cobain.
Poster child.
Poster child.
Pisces. Oh my god.
Sad life though. Very, very sad.
Yeah.
And then Steve Irwin, also very, a dreamer. I think his big thing was conserving nature, and like that's what he wanted to do.
I think he was also very intuitive and empathic with like animals. Like, he could like tame them without being really like violent, or like just understand like what they need even though they don't speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know Olivia Rodrigo. I just threw it in for the Gen Z crowd. I don't really know her. I don't listen to her music. Sorry. I think she makes some like emo music, something about like driving down the street.
You know who she is, though.
I don't know her music. I know her. I've heard the name, but I don't know her.
I know her music.
Doesn't she do that one emo song of like I drive down
emo?
the street?
Anyways, we'll move on. Apparently you hate Olivia Rodrigo.
I don't hate her, I just don't know her. I'm too old for this shit. Chris Martin of Coldplay, just another like empathic, creative.
He's really
person.
funny too. He was a guest star in a Modern Family episode, and he was really funny in it. Levi Strauss, Levi Strauss, with the Visionary, so part of like his fortune was the jeans, but how he made the money was selling to gold miners. So when the gold rush came, everybody thought they were going to make it rich in the gold, which some people did, but most of the people that got really wealthy off the gold rush were people selling the goods and services to facilitate the gold rush. Tool companies, and then Levi Strauss was one of the big ones who made it. He sold those jeans that the gold miners really liked, and I mean, talk about iconic Americana. I mean, Levi Strauss. Shaq isn't everything. I feel like Shaq could be every side, to be honest, but
he really could.
Yes. And we talked about psychic, but also intuition. Talk about his intuition, man. He is super like, he just knows what to do, what to say, like where to go, and his instinct has not failed him.
That man can sell anything. I've seen him in pizza commercials, cruises,
insurance.
Yeah. Oh my god, that man can sell. Like, he has his own clothing line. Like,
it's incredible.
That man can sell anything.
And he's very empathetic because he grew up as a military brat, and his it was his stepfather, but who he saw as his father was always like, you need to look out for other people. You're never better than anybody else. So Shaq is known to be a huge philanthropist, which really nice about Shaq and his philanthropy is he doesn't boast about it. All the stories come out from like other people. He's never the one saying like, oh, look what I did.
He's also creative. He's a DJ now.
He's a DJ. Yep.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah. And then Steph Curry, I mean, he changed the game of basketball, basically. So, people weren't shooting threes the way Steph Curry was. And it's literally a new game after Steph Curry.
Anything else about Steph Curry? I don't really know him. Is he like philanthropic? Is he creative? Like, does he do anything outside of basketball?
Well, his life was basketball. His dad was an NBA player. So he was on basketball NBA courts from when he was a kid. The big story with him, though, is that most basketball athletes, like, their first instinct is to go to sign with Nike, but Nike fumbled the ball really hard with him, and he was like, nope, I'm gonna take my talents elsewhere. And he partnered with Under Armour, and essentially, like, Under Armour was like a known brand, but essentially because of Steph Curry, they became one of the big players in that, like, sports apparel.
Nice. Great.
All right, let's talk about us now.
Yeah, definitely. So, to start with you, of course, we always have to. You don't have any planets in Pisces, but your fourth house and your IC.
Doesn't everybody have planets in? What do you mean I don't have any? I don't know what that means.
So, everybody has every sign in their chart in different combinations, right? Because there's 360 degrees in the sky, and you divide it by 12.
Okay.
However, there are only so many planets, so there's not always going to be a planet in every sign.
Oh, okay. So I don't have planets, but I do have celestial bodies.
You have no celestial bodies in Pisces. But there is a piece of the sky when you were born that is Pisces. It just exists. It doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't have anything.
But because of where the eastern horizon was, where you were born, the section of sky that rules Pisces is what's called like the bottom of your chart, like where like 6 a.m. would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what do I have in my fourth? You were saying I have my IC and what else?
Oh, sorry. Not 6 a.m. I don't remember what time of day, but 6 a.m. is the rising sign. Anyway, so your fourth house of family, foundation, and stability is ruled by Pisces in your fourth house. So where I see that for you is that you came from a family that was like, no dream is too big.
Okay.
Like, they were very supportive. They were also very like visionary themselves.
And they still are.
And they still are, yeah. They still are, but like, yeah. So you have a family that said like never stop dreaming, that supported you no matter what, supported your creative endeavors, your big dreams, and because of that now you are very much a dreamer and like nothing is unattainable for you.
Okay. Doesn't look like I have too much like Pisces though, huh?
No. You just have that
little sliver.
Yeah, your fourth house.
I wonder, and I know you didn't look it up, but remember we did that like asteroids episode? Yeah, I wonder if there's any major asteroid or anything.
There are too many to count. It would take like
a while.
hours of research to see.
To figure it out. Okay, yeah. I like that. And then what about you?
So for me, it's my sixth house. And I also have Saturn there. So I do have a celestial body in Pisces. So when I was born, Pisces ruled a section of the sky, and Saturn happened to be in that section. And Saturn is in Pisces right now as well, so I'm going through my Saturn return. So
you're about to end it though, right?
Yeah,
you're coming towards the end.
In May, yeah.
We've talked about Saturn returns. We've had full episodes. From what I understand, you get about 2 or 3 if you're very fortunate in your lifetime, but they can be. They're kind of like a slingshot, right? Like you're getting pulled back, and it's definitely like a turning point within your astrological lifespan. Do you think this Saturn return has really had a Saturn return effect?
Absolutely. Once Saturn goes into Aries, I have like a post that I'm ready to post about it, but I've seen some huge transformations, especially because it rules my sixth house of like daily routine, pets, subordinates because I am in a management position, overall health. Like, I've just seen so many transformations. It started.
Do you think, and this is a little to the core of our podcast, do you see it sometimes at a point where it's like it's more than coincidences? Yeah,
I think so.
You're there for sure. Well, I know you're a believer, and I'm more the skeptic, but I think sometimes when we have these like fun back and forths, you're like, David, this is like these are the things that I'm telling you that you can be skeptic about, you can say no way, but this is what the cosmos had in store for me, and like I've literally kind of lived the archetype of each one of these things, right?
Yeah, it's almost knowing astrology can be a gift and also a curse, because sometimes you see things coming from a mile away, and sometimes you can like minimize the damage and sometimes you can't.
You just got to brace yourself.
Yeah, you just gotta brace yourself. So for example, with Saturn going through my 6th house, and because I was born under Pisces, so again, Pisces is very like go with the flow, right? So I naturally struggle with routine and discipline in my everyday life. Like how people are like, I eat the same thing for breakfast and I always wake up at this time. I'm like, nah, I just gotta wake up when I want to wake up. Like, just gotta do what the day calls for. Like, I can't have a routine. So because I know this about myself and I knew that a Saturn return was coming, it's like, okay, it's like putting a sentence together. What are the themes? 6th house, like health, daily routine, discipline. Saturn is about getting your shit in order and together. And during this time, like, it can help you or you could like learn the hard way. So I was like, I don't want to learn the hard way.
You're like, I don't want to learn any lessons this Saturn return.
Yeah. Well, you're going to learn lessons, but I don't want to learn them the hard way. So let me like preemptively do things to like soften the blow, and I feel like it's helped a lot.
Saturn return lasts about 2 years.
Like 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3, and this into the next like season, which is Aries. That's when it ends.
Yeah, I mean so planets always like go forward and then a little back with retrograde.
The retrograde,
right?
yeah.
But for the most part, in May it will be over because it'll finally cross into Aries, but it will retrograde back into Pisces a little bit, but obviously temporary. The thing is that I'm a 24-degree Pisces Saturn. So when it retrogrades, it won't hit my natal point again. It just crosses once and that's it for me. This Saturn return around. Some people have Saturn cross 3 times.
Oh gosh.
It's like, yeah, and it's horrible for them.
So give up at that point.
Yeah, but for me, it's only gonna cross me once. So
okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? I mean, I know we talk about it in passing. You talk about Saturn return so much. The hot things I think in astrology are like Mercury retrogrades, but I think for you, you're more about your Saturn return.
Yeah, I mean, just because I'm in it right now, but for example, I did a spell 2 weeks before Saturn entered into Pisces because I was just like, I can't keep doing this anymore. Or actually more like a month before, because I was in a job that was really bad for my physical and mental health.
Oh, okay, you're talking way back.
Yeah,
okay.
Because
yes.
Saturn entered Pisces March 7th, 2023. So I was like, I can't keep doing this, and especially knowing that like my health is gonna come front and center for the next 3 years, like I can't be in this toxic environment.
It would have been too much.
It would have been a lot. I would have learned by force at that point. So then I did a 2-week spell under a Virgo moon. I don't remember exactly if it was full or new, but I did like a super intense spell, got a work from home job that allows me to have more work-life balance and prioritize my health. And also unfortunately in the United States of having health is like having more money. So I was like, I need more money, I need more flexibility, and I also need like a less stressful job. But that is still like emotionally fulfilling to me, otherwise I lose motivation. And I got all of those things. And my start date, both my supervisor chose, but then when I looked it up, it was perfect, was the first day of Saturn in Pisces.
Wow, so it lined up.
So I was like,
speaking of like not coincidences, yes. Right? Yeah.
So I was like, obviously I can't ruin this opportunity. Like I have to prioritize my health. And I also got better health insurance with this job, which allowed me to do that. So I mean, I'll be transparent, I've lost about 45 to 50 pounds at this point since my Saturn return. Because of the surgery and stuff, I fluctuate. Sometimes I'm at 45, sometimes I'm at 50, but I've been staying around the 45 to 50 pounds lost range. Yeah. So I was going to make a post about it once Saturn goes into Aries, but we're talking about it now.
How do you feel with it coming to an end? And I mean, Pisces being the last sign before the end. Like, what connections have you made, or what can you talk about?
Yeah, I still think that there is no overcoming like the Pisces in my life, which is my daily routine. I'm still going to need to go with the flow.
Yeah.
But before I was being more like,
But I feel like you set good habits, though, right? In your Saturn
Yes.
return, and it's all about foundation. It's about
Yes.
setting, like, especially as a person who says, like, I'm not a routine person. Sometimes you have to work even harder. And a lot of the people who are successful, yes, there's like natural talent, there's natural ability, but it's those people that can find their way to work harder than their shortcomings.
yeah. So there's like an immature and mature side of each sign. So for Pisces, immature would be like escapist, that's future me's problem.
I love saying that.
That type of vibe, right? So when I was living in my more immature Pisces energy around my daily routine, I was just like, I'm gonna eat what I want because I'm in survival mode. I don't care.
Can I give some validation to that, though?
Yeah.
I think, because I mean, obviously we're together during that time, and I think during that time, you were very hard on yourself, saying, like, why can't I blank? Why can't I pull myself out of this? Why can't I eat better? Why can't I exercise more? Why can't I spend more time with my partner? Like, there was, like, a lot of whys, and, we're talking about the astrological, but, taking a step back from that, you were in survival mode, and I think it's okay to validate that and say, on a psychological and physiological perspective, when somebody is in survival mode, there's nothing left to give to the extracurriculars or the other things. So, I mean, you're giving the astrological perspective, but in reality, it was just a lot. And when you did find more stability, when you found a better job, when you found more accommodations, your life did change a lot. Now, it could be because of the Saturn return, but I think that change allowed us to do a lot of things, and I'm including myself because, when you as Genesis are in survival mode, I have to be able to support or counterbalance that. But there's been a very nice like homeostasis after you got some of that stability. So, just again validation to your points.
Yeah, thank you for the kudos. And part of the like, you see it coming from a mile away and you just gotta brace yourself. I had a feeling I was going to end up in the hospital during my Saturn return, just because it's going, like, something big was going to happen. And that something was a lot of things. It was my weight loss, but also my gallbladder.
It waited until the last. It said it was your last little surprise.
Honestly,
your parting gift.
When it was within 5 degrees, which, like, technically makes a weaker conjunction, but a conjunction nonetheless, yes, it did. It did fucking wait until it went conjunct with my natal Saturn. Because, like, the gallbladder, when it freaks out, it's because it's processing too much fat.
Your gallbladder went into Saturn return.
So, I felt kind of bad, like, what did I do to make my gallbladder act up? And they were like, it was gonna act up because it's processing a lot of fat, whether you're, like, eating fried chicken every day, or because you've lost weight. Because to lose weight, it also has to process some of the stored fat, right? So it's like, choose your heart. Your gallbladder was gonna go out either way.
Remember when you got admitted and they were like, just be honest with us. Like, are you a huge party animal? Like, how much do you drink?
God, yes, they did. They were like, so you like to... No. They were like, are you a heavy drinker? And I'm just like, no. I drink maybe like twice a year. And that's like one drink, like an espresso martini.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, God, no. In my kitchen, no. But they were like, okay, are you a big, like, smoker? I'm like, I'm hella asthmatic. I cannot smoke.
They might as well just ask you if you're fucking popping pills and smoking crack.
At this point, yeah. And they were like, oh, that's weird because you have, like, all these symptoms of being, like, an alcoholic, basically. Yeah. But then once they found out that I had, like, major weight loss and a family history, they were like, oh,
okay, that makes sense. Okay, so what are we going to do? I say we, but what are you going to do to keep within the 6th house of Saturn return, kind of with the Pisces? Like, what's your plan moving forward?
Yeah, so, sorry, we went, like, all over the place, but the mature side of Pisces is, like, yeah, there are going to be some days that I can't stick to a routine because that's just the energy that I was born with, but the next day, we pick ourselves back up. That's the mature side of Pisces.
Yeah.
And also giving yourself grace. Like, if there are days that, like, I need a rest day or I need, like, a cheat meal, it's like, look at everything that you've done, like, progress, not perfection. I feel like that's the more mature side of Pisces that I am embracing within, like, my Saturn return lessons.
That's definitely become a motto in our home, huh? Progress, not perfection.
That and also harm reduction, in my opinion, because it's like, if I'm going out to eat with friends, or like, let's say I'm DJing, right? And like, I want to drink too, but I don't want to drink like alcohol because I'm driving. Also, I don't have my gallbladder anymore, so I can't really do that. But, it's like I could drink Coke or not Coke, not anymore. I could drink Pepsi or I could drink Diet Pepsi, right? Like, pick your poison. So, yeah, that's like the type of flexibility I'm also embracing.
Yeah. Pisces, very interesting sign.
Yeah.
Not one of my favorites. It didn't.
Dang.
Yeah. They're cool.
I love my Pisces.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're always a good time.
I wonder if I know any Pisces. What's the date? It's March.
This year it's February 18th to March 20th.
February 18th. Oh.
Well, your friend.
Yeah, our friend Mozzie's husband.
Super chicken Pokemon.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. So
I love that you called him Mozzie's husband.
Also, Mercy's brother.
Oh yeah,
that's another Pisces.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I do fuck with Pisces. Okay.
You do.
I guess I like them as people, but the sign wasn't. I don't know. There was no Virgo. Let's just say that. All right. Well, great, I think, episode to come back to. I hope we kind of get everybody in the community back listening. We have had some inquiries, like nobody's been pushy because I think they understand, but they're like, "Oh, we miss you." Like we
miss you too.
Yeah, every Wednesday. Looking forward to it. But coming up on 70 episodes. I'm so proud of that. It's an accomplishment. So
yes.
Awesome.
And then the next episode. Do you want to say it or should I say it?
You can say it.
Logos within occult symbols. So
yes.
I'm excited to take a little break from astrology. I love astrology, but I'm excited to take a little break from it.
Yeah, I feel like we need to go back to our topics. I feel like between guests and horoscopes and all these awesome, great topics, we haven't done a lot of our occult topics, which I'm really excited about. So
I did a lot of research. There's a lot of cool stuff out there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so if somebody wants to get a hold of you, get a reading, say hi, how can they do that?
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Jen Kahlo, or my website, jenkahlo.com, will have all my links.
Awesome. Alrighty, everybody. Well, thank you for rejoining us. We missed you. We love everyone. Please drop your comments. They make us so, so happy. And if you're part of the Kythera Club, please, join us in our unhinges and our drops. Join us in the Discord. Thank you so much for being part of this community.
Absolutely. We love you and miss you. But remember, the magic within you makes the world a more beautiful place. Blessed be, and signing off.
Bye.